to you by Sayaka. Cooking with electricity is now so affordable with the Fumba tariff set by the Electricity Regulatory Authority.
Good evening to you, our viewer. Thank you so much for choosing the national broadcaster, bringing you current affairs happening for this particular hour at 10 p.m. It is a news tonight, coming to you live both on air and online. My name is Sandra Kahonde. Now, first things first, a look at the headlines. The First Lady Janet Museveni cautioned schools on contraceptive exposure to pupils. Parliament passes the Human Organ Donation and Transplant Bill 2022. Health experts from private sector meet to strengthen access to quality private healthcare services. And finally, Uganda's dreams in the 2022 Holy Woodbets Kosafa Beach Soccer Championship shattered after losing to Senegal. Good to have you once again. Thank you so much for keeping us company. The 30th day of September 2022 as we wind up this particular month of September. It's a pleasure and a blessing to have your company. My name is Sandra Kahunda once again. Now right into our details for the day. Starting off with the head of state, President Museveni has vowed to continue supporting investors because their role in socio-economic transformation through wealth and job creation. The president was commissioning Protea Hotel Kampala, Skies Naguru in Kampala, for which he commended the proprietor Patrick Bitature for expanding the hospitality industry of Uganda. His Excellency Museveni warned financial institutions like banks who are rigid to negotiations with investors who have taken loans from them.
Domestic hospitality. People coming from the villages, even if the tourists don't come, but the business people will keep coming. The internal travel will continue. The domestic, Uganda like parties. They like alcohol. So really it is not. The only danger was because Corona was very dangerous. Corona was dangerous because it was stopping tourists, but even the internal. If you are a development-minded person, what you want is whether this business can make profit in the foreseeable future. That's what is important. Especially if you know there were problems which are well known, like not mismanagement, like acts of nature, floods, earthquake, pandemic like this one. How can this be? A bank which doesn't see that should be restructured. We are going to handle it. We should stop that. So I congratulate Bitature. Bitature is very active. The group are very active in the power, as you heard, in the electricity, in the farming, in the education. You have had them. I congratulate you, and I wish you good luck, and we shall support you.
Your Excellency, and I say this with all honesty, foreign, local investors, political, non-political, you have been a fair, just, and a true leader. Your Excellency, when our investors face challenges and everyone feels that they're useless, Your Excellency, you hold their hands. From the time that you appointed me, I witnessed 3 investors that you've held their hands, and everyone uses that Swahili word that you say, muwache. And you've said, muwache, let's help our people. Your Excellency, one of them, and I will start with the foreign one. Your Excellency, recently, when we did not understand your strategy of making our coffee to go to the global market when there's value addition, everyone turned against this investor, Pineti. And you said, no, I'm not doing this for me. Everyone is like, what is the president looking for in this investor? But what were you looking for? More foreign exchange for our country, not for yourself. Please, let us clap for the president for that.
Protea has done well because of the peace we have enjoyed across the country. And this has led to the building of another hotel. This, today, we open Skies Hotel that you opened today, which is also under the Marriott brand of hotels. Your Excellency, the COVID-19 pandemic hit the hospitality sector very hard, and we are grateful for all the measures you put in place to keep us afloat. However, the banking laws and regulations in Uganda, unlike Kenya, only allow for 2 restructures, even when a business has got a lifespan of 50 years. I remember at the beginning of the COVID outbreak, when you made that first speech, one could hear a pin drop because of the silence and across the country. You had our undivided attention across the country. We were all in fear and had absolutely no idea of what to do. We watched on TV the coffins in Italy, the coffins in Brazil, and they said we were going to die like flies in Africa. We were all so scared and had absolutely no idea. But you were firm and resolute. Like Noah, like when Noah was building the ark and he was determined to save his creatures, so were you. You were so determined to protect all of us, every single one of us in Uganda, not just Ugandan, but anybody in this country. And you shepherded us like Moses took the Israelites across the Red Sea to the Promised Land. We are eternally grateful to you. You determined your own homemade solution and charted your own route to safety. You did not follow the rest of the world dogmatically.
Now, more from state activities, more to do with the head of state, the fountain of honor. President Yoweri Museveni has encouraged Ugandans to use opportunities created by the NRM government to create wealth for socio-economic transformation. He was launching the next media park located at Naguru Hill in Kampala, where he said that the policy of liberalization targeted improving service delivery through wealth creation, emphasizing that previous governments had not correctly analyzed how to create wealth and jobs.
When we came into government in 1986, we introduced our 10 points program. And within the 10 points program, there was point number 5, building an economy which is integrated, independent, and self-sustaining. And we put, this was our line, to add value to coffee, to add value to textile. The shirt I'm putting on is a Ugandan shirt. So therefore, it's not just these assets, it is now the content of what the assets will be used for. Now, thirdly and finally, I want to salute Karisa and his colleagues, because in 1995, I made a countrywide tour throughout the whole of Uganda. And you remember the words I was using. Okulembeka. In Runyankore is called Oktangiriza. In Runyore it is called Okuleja. The NRM has created all these opportunities. So what the Karisas have done, they have done Okulembeka. To take opportunity and create wealth through service provision.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Fountain of Honor is signing and launching the Uganda at 60 campaign. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Salute to His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Now, moving on to activities regarding the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has cautioned school administrators against exposing contraceptive to students. She was officiating the national dialogue to address defilement, teenage pregnancy, child marriage, and the promotion of positive parenting at Wanyangi Girls School in Jinja. Janet warned that as such weakens school-going children's resilience of managing adolescents.
Ministry of Education is working with partners to engage teenagers on addressing issues relating to defilement, teenage pregnancies, child marriage, and promoting positive parenting. This will strengthen teenage perseverance against gender and sexual-related violence in schools.
Turning young girls into brides, getting them pregnant and infecting them with sexually transmitted diseases. I call upon those charged with law enforcement to apprehend the culprits wherever they are. Abuse and defilement must come to an end in Uganda. So let us join hands and fight these vices, which rob our children of their innocence and well-being.
That two-day dialogue on the theme, True Love Waits, engaged over 15 schools from Busoga sub-region.
I have also signed a commitment card of True Love Waits because I realized that a virgin girl is very respected. To that day, I give myself only to my marriage partner in a covenant marriage relationship.
No, those cards you have to keep. On that day of your marriage ceremony, that's the card you hand over to your marriage partner, so that they may know that you have been pure throughout your young life and they can trust you through the marriage.
The Minister for Education, Janet Kaguta Museveni, cautioned school managers against exposing learners to contraceptives.
However, we would like to extend a word of caution. While there is much advocacy for using condoms and contraceptives and other such measures, these in many ways compound the problem by promoting immorality and encouraging young people to engage in sexual relationship before the right time. And you know, you may use the contraceptives to protect yourself from getting pregnant, but you can still get HIV and AIDS. And surely you don't want that either. These interventions do not provide solutions to the problem. Please adapt campaign messages that promote abstinence from sexual relations.
Education stakeholders resolved the need for the social response of empowering women and girls with sexual reproductive health information.
The issues this national campaign aims to address therefore require a whole of society response to ensure that the most vulnerable have access to educational and economic opportunities and sexual and reproductive health and services.
A habit here in Busoga, when a girl begins menstruation, some of the grandparents and the aunties tell the child that, you know, every month you are throwing away child. Every month you are throwing away child. How sure you'll be able to get many children?
The focus of engaging students is based on the high maternal mortality rate of 28% annually among teenagers.
Girls, even more disturbingly, get pregnant through really forceful and violent means such as rape. There are too many hair-raising stories of adult men impregnating young girls.
Hearts are sinking because such girls, when they become pregnant at an early age, there is no future for them. Their future completely changes.
Through testimonies, public figures encouraged students to understand education trends.
With the wrong peers around me, I did all wrong things an adolescent should have stayed away from.
Other interventions by the ministry to build teenagers' resilience are based on introducing life skills training approach in schools for self-reliance. Abdul Nasili Lubwama, UBC News.
And for joining
More from the First Lady. Our Minister of Education and Sports has revealed that Cabinet is to discuss findings from research on operations of UPE and USE in giving free education and come up with a statutory instrument that will determine school charges. While addressing the media at State House in Nakasero, the Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, expressed a disappointment over parents' teachers associations, which she says have diverted from their mandate and started charging parents money unnecessarily.
Government will develop a statutory instrument as an intervention to the challenge of exorbitant fees and charges in schools. Findings from a research conducted by a committee appointed by the First Lady, headed by Professor Kayanja, supported by the Norwegian government, indicate that school charges do not follow any documentation, and also parents-teachers associations set up charges in schools as they wish. According to the Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, the committee helped them to know the common charges and those that do not require receipts in schools. These include paying for teachers' salaries, infrastructure, school loans, utilities, and school bus in UPE and USE schools.
PTAs were put in place so that they do a one-time thing, they raise funds, they invest those funds into an income-generating project so that they make extra money for schools. That extra money would ensure that schools are maintained, infrastructure is maintained, that they can help to maintain the school fees, that the school fees can be stable so that they are not going up and down. Now, these PTAs don't do that. Instead, they charge parents every time there is need to do anything. So the school fees are forever going up and coming down, sometimes going up again. In essence, really, the PTAs have become irrelevant, and they don't even involve all the parents. They only have some of the parents they work with.
The First Lady also attributes the increase in school charges to parents not taking their role of feeding their children. Although Ministry of Education and Sports has time and again issued circulars to schools to stop increasing school fees and write to the Office of the Permanent Secretary for permission, this has not been done.
We ensure the school maintenance, how it will be done, the teaching support fee, the school uniform, the examination management fee, the remedial learning, all that will be determined in that statutory instrument, which will come soon, but which I don't want us to do as a sector alone. For teachers' circle, now that's really not acceptable, because government does all that, as you people know. The buildings are done by government, the teachers are paid by government, the instructional materials are paid by government. So these charges come from areas that have been failed to be taken care of, like I said.
Meanwhile, on the Ebola outbreak in the country, Ministry of Education and Sports has issued guidelines to schools that are to be disseminated in circulars that include standard operating procedures.
School floors should be cleaned with water and, if possible, mixed with jik. I'm sure people know jik. If that can be mixed with water to clean the surface of the floors of classrooms, that should be done. At the end of the day, disinfect toilets, again, the door handles, the windows, window sills, the tables, the blackboard, and other surfaces using disinfectant. Ebola virus apparently can stay on a surface for 5 to 10 days.
The minister has guided that this period schools will not have a lot to spend on since preparations for epidemics were done during the COVID-19 outbreak. However, for any support, they can use the school facility grant. I'm Navka Farida and Dan Lugemwa in Kampala.
In other news, Parliament has approved and passed the Uganda Human Organ Donation and Transplant Bill 2022 that will see the allowing of human organ donation in the country, but also protect the vulnerable Ugandans and their organs. The bill sets up several penalties for dealing in human organs for commercial purposes.
There has been several media reports on forceful taking of people's organs by other people, like a series of reports showing domestic workers whose body organs get removed after being forced into having unwanted and unnecessary operations. Parliament of Uganda has now passed the Uganda Human Organ Donation and Transplant Bill 2022, setting tough penalties for dealing in human organs for commercial purposes, like approving a life sentence for anyone who deals in human organs and tissue for commercial reasons.
Subclause 4E to read as follows: understands that he or she may be compensated for justifiable expenses which should be declared to and cleared by the Council within reasonable time. The justification is to guard against commercialization of tissues or cells.
According to the bill, it's also illegal for anyone to remove a human organ tissue or cell from a living donor without consent.
How you exhibit your personal consent. No one else can consent for you.
And this is for the living donor, because for the already dead donor, you would have given your consent before dying. Okay? Yes, before dying.
According to the Deputy Speaker, Thomas Taibwa, the bill will help Ugandans get organ transplant, but it will also protect the vulnerable Ugandans. The chairperson of the Health Committee of Parliament, Dr. Charles Sayome, told Parliament the committee recommended that child organ donation should only be done in an exception circumstance approved by the Council with also the consent of a parent or guardian.
So that one is supposed to be stiff. You're caught with a child's liver, kidneys, pancreas. That is life imprisonment. However, we opened it up. The organs we're talking about are solid organs.
There is also a penalty of 10 billion for any corporate bodies involved in human organ trade and 2 billion or imprisonment of 20 years or both for health workers or traffickers found in the same act.
Like for example, if a hospital is, there's evidence that it has been engaged in organ trafficking, then the fine is 10 billion shillings.
The bill also establishes the Uganda Organ and Transplant Council that will regulate organ and cell donation and transplants. Shamim Naiga and Gloria Gutabinji, Parliament.
The Ministry of Health Surveillance team in conjunction with Kagadi District Health Department have confirmed the outbreak of Ebola in Kagadi District. This follows the death of a nursing assistant at St. Ambrose Charity Health Center, 4 in Kagadi Town Council, Kagadi District.
A nursing assistant has died of Ebola virus at Kagadi Health Center 4 in Kagadi District. The regional epidemiologist, Minister of Health, Agure Byaruhanga, confirmed that the blood samples which were taken to Uganda Virus Research Institute Entebbe for analysis this week had tested positive for Ebola.
On 28th, the results came out positive.
The results were of the 23-year-old nursing officer identified as Ronald Agaba from Rugashali Town Council in Kagadi District. Byaruhanga says the ministry has put in place the necessary mitigation measures in health centers and communities across the surrounding districts.
We have told them to make sure that they do not congregate and they should always wash hands in case they touch people. But the bottom line is no touching, no greeting.
We took over as security officers and buried scientifically. So, in the burial, there was no burial ceremony, there was nothing.
He disclosed that the deceased contracted Ebola virus in Madudu sub-county, an epicenter of the Ebola in Mubende district, where he operated a drug shop. Locals have been advised to desist from alleged superstition and falsehoods based on poisoning and witchcraft.
Saying this person did not die of Ebola, that he was bewitched. Such nonsenses, such ill traditions should be stopped at the moment.
At least 20 suspected contacts of relatives, family members, including nurses and doctors who are treating him, are being monitored.
Such, we are looking for other cases who could be in the communities. In the contact tracing, we are looking for people who got in contact with this case. So we found brothers, uncles, and sisters.
Pick it, pack it, share it. The 4G Wakanet MiFi. Pocket it, use it, enjoy it. Visit any MTN service center or Banana Phone World outlets. Get it at 75k. The MTN 4G Pocket MiFi is it.
I remember the lockdown, when the streets were empty and our lives disrupted, when businesses closed and our livelihoods hung in the balance. Hospitals were full. We lost loved ones, jobs, and hope. Our children couldn't study anymore. We cannot let this happen again. We should not go back. Get fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and join the millions of Ugandans who are already vaccinated.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift, buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Our wetlands are being lost at a very alarming rate. Wetlands have become the most threatened ecosystem 3 times faster than the forest. With 35% loss globally since 1970, a quarter of wetland-dependent species are near extinction. This is a very serious loss to our economy and natural resource-based country. The government of Uganda is determined to reverse this trend. Therefore, my ministry calls upon fellow Ugandans to contribute to the conservation and sustainable use of the limited resources. Ugandans, stop cultivating, putting up buildings, and dumping in the wetlands.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Water and Environment, Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Uganda National Meteorological Authority, with support from Government of Uganda, Green Climate Fund, and the United Nations Development Programme.
News tonight, it is now in other activities of the day. Uganda's Civil Aviation Authority has received digital equipment for awareness raising on trafficking at Entebbe International Airport. The equipment, donated by Better Migration Management Program, worth €30,000, is intended to net down human trafficking activities.
There have been worryingly rampant cases of human trafficking registered at Entebbe International Airport.
We'll recall that I think a few months ago we had a meeting here, we had the minister and a number of people, and we had an opportunity to interact with over 30 girls that actually have been saved. They had traveled to Dubai and other states, and actually they were being abused.
About 75% girls and women have been allegedly trafficked through Entebbe Airport after being promised jobs abroad by traffickers, alleged to connive with some officers in the Ministry of Internal Affairs.
As you are all aware, Uganda is a source, transit, and destination for human trafficking. This explains why trafficking is a challenge in Uganda, not only internally but across the borders.
We came knowing that they are agents, and we have put measures to fight agents, both legal measures in terms of prosecution and operational measures, which is digital. That's why we moved from manual processes to digital.
The passenger traffic at Entebbe International Airport is said to have gone on rise since the easing of the lockdown.
Because you can only make money when you have more people departing. So the risks are more now than they were during the COVID. And these numbers are continuing to increase. That means the efforts that we have must be well placed.
According to Olivia Birungi, the Deputy Director General, Civil Aviation Authority, the most common cases of trafficking have been mainly registered on young girls and women. In the last 3 years, over 200 suspects of human trafficking were arrested and arraigned before courts of law. It's alleged that traffickers have been conniving with some officials from Ministry of Internal Affairs to issue passports illegally.
And that's why we are here today. We want, through the digitized messages, to reach out to all, from the highest to the most lowest, so that they are able to make informed migration decisions.
While handing over the equipment to officials from Internal Affairs and Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, the Chief of Mission Better Migration Management, Sanusi Tajan, emphasized continued awareness creation on human trafficking.
These tools will support in strengthening the national response and referral, as well as we all work on the front line to end human trafficking in Uganda. TV screens, 14 UPS.
Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development has organized a one-day symposium for leaders of older persons in Nebbi district ahead of the commemoration of the International Day of Older Persons. The Ministry for Gender, Labour and Social Development, Abeti Amongi, in a statement read by the State Minister for Elderly, Gidundu Mafabi, has said this will engage government stakeholders and local leaders on programs for older persons.
The purpose of enabling the center to interact with the local government stakeholders and give updates on the programs a government has initiated, the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development has organized a symposium in Nebbi district for the leaders of elderly persons. The Minister of Gender, Betty Amongi, represented by the State Minister Gidudu Mafabi, says the duty of leaders is to build a firm foundation for the elder persons.
It is therefore ours to build a firm foundation where older persons, including the current and us who are coming soon, can enjoy their old age, and the time for action is now.
She called upon leaders to make sure that the 5% allocation of social sector development grant is released to the councils of the older persons.
That we mobilize and support older persons to embrace and participate in these programs. I'm calling upon the district leadership to ensure that the 5% allocation of the social sector development grant is released to councils for older persons to allow them implement their mandate of mobilizing older persons.
The Minister of State for the Elderly, Gidudu Mafabi, appreciated the leaders for the services delivered to the older persons and urged them to embrace government programs, especially the parish development model.
Of course, we have what you call the parish development model. This is a nationwide program. It's Muzee's priority.
The leaders of the older persons expressed challenges encountered during their service.
I am very happy
And Honorable Gidudu, I want to thank you again once more with the ministry for choosing NEBI to be the international venue for the Older Persons Day.
Came on 5th November 2019. To date, not only Northern region, but most regions, other than, I could say, Eastern region. Most of the district executive committees don't get 5%.
The one-day meeting precedes commemoration of the International Day for the Older Persons tomorrow.
State Minister for Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, has directed police and other security organs to arrest a renowned cancer drug inventor, David Semfuka. He was addressing a land meeting organized by Bukama Simbi RDC Jan Francis at Buda, Chisonjo Parish in Chivinge Sub-County, where over 600 residents face eviction from their land.
Residents of Budamu in Chisojo Parish in Chivinge Sub-County, Bukama Simbi District, have appealed to State Minister for Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, to intervene against a cancer herbal drug producer, David Semfuka. The residents accuse Dr. Semfuka of threatening to evict them from their land. Family members of the late Suleiman Ulega explained to the minister they sold 439 acres of their land to Semfuka, gave him an original title to Semfuka, which Semfuka manipulated to take all their land.
Sete ezo zonna ewamu zaali obukadde 129 bw'emitwalo 81.
Also, 82-year-old Sarah Wabade, born of this area, appealed to President Museveni to restrain Dr. Semfuka and save their land. Another victim, Hussein Kabanda, accused Dr. Semfuka of conniving Leonard Chimera, the area LC1 chairperson, and were beaten.
Manyawagira Semfuka angobe kutaka chairmani ekyo kyogera nga sikirumamu n'abatuuze mwe nabo okukyalo muno musobola okumpa obujulizi yayimirira mu lukyalo wange ng'ali ne vice we mukyala Nakyanja njagala aveeyo wano.
The DPC, Jenny Francis Kagai, reported to the minister that at the High Court in Masaka, Deputy Registrar Julius Sebolole released a notice on 23rd August 2022 restraining the Deputy RDC and LC5 chairperson from accessing the land. These reports angered the minister, who immediately ordered the police to arrest LC1 chairperson Chimera, which the DPC on NEC implemented. The minister also directed the RDC and security to arrest David Semfuka immediately.
Abataka of Buganda must join President Museveni in ensuring that Bibanja holders are secure on their Bibanja in accordance with the constitution. These RCs who have conspired with the thugs must be arrested immediately, and that the LC, since it's all evil, it is all a forgery, it is all of thieves. President Museveni did not install LCs for villages to be ruled by criminals. It must be disbanded. RDC will put in order procedures to replace it, and meanwhile all these criminals must be arrested, including David Semfuka.
The conflicts between Semfuka David and the family of the late Suleiman Ulega over this land have taken over 10 years. Government is bringing in an amendment on the Land Act, which is assumed will end land evictions. Jamilu Sekadja compiled this report for UBC News.
The founder and patron aid support organization TASO, Noreen Kaleba, has called on Ugandans to adopt domestic support to fund the organization than relying on international donors. It is in the same spirit that TASO members have initiated the Client Community Health Insurance Scheme that enables members access medical health care.
The Client Community Health Insurance Scheme has been piloted in 10 TASO centers. The initiative funds some services that are not funded by donors, with each member required to pay at least Uganda shillings 500.
We need to hold for ourselves, contribute out of our own pockets, and get these drugs available for us at a subsidized cost. Out of this little contribution can help them also come to the same level, can also help them move with their life. And that is how we thought about it, the economical way of supporting ourselves. Yeah.
The founder and patron TASO, Noreen Kaleba, emphasizes the need to have a self-reliant organization to sustain the works of TASO.
For Ugandans to realize that the response to HIV will not be funded exclusively by international support. We need to put in our own resources and also give that understanding to our children. Because I think very few Ugandans know that TASO is a membership organization.
However, there is need to engage communities and create awareness to protect themselves against contracting HIV.
You still have some of these residual HIV positive people who even don't know or who are highly stigmatized. So our major strategy interventions will be deepening our community reach, and deepening it in a way that we are able to provide integrated, comprehensive services, working alongside the public health system and the public health structures and other government structures that are in place, and giving support to the national structures.
Uganda's HIV prevalence reduced from 6.2% in 2017 to 5.5% in 2020. Working with government, TASO is on a journey to achieve the National Development Plan 3 to stop the transmission of HIV virus by 2030. Marian Wumcha, UBC News.
State Minister for Finance Amos Lugolobi has laid out engagement lines between government education service providers in the private sector while launching the National Private Education Institutions Association for Kayunga District. Lugolobi held the role of private sector education providers play.
Providing education to citizens is the responsibility of government, although private education providers are subsidizing on the service. The Minister of State for Finance, Mr. Amos Lugolobi, says capitalization and quality education are key to a better learning environment.
To support the government, make sure that the population of this country benefits from better human capital development services. In view of that, where there is a huge outcry from the sector that they are being overtaxed, there are so many taxes, I think it is high time that government comes in to listen to them, talk with them, see where the problem is, and then find an amicable solution to the problem. I think this is what the Minister of Finance is going to do, to meet with the proprietors of these schools through their brand national association, NAPE, Uganda, to understand the problem better.
Lugolobi was launching the National Private Education Institutions Association for Kayunga District, where he said that government provided 100 billion shillings as small business recovery fund to support entrepreneurs recover from COVID-19 economic rundown.
Put up this fund to support private enterprises by way of a soft loan to them to recover themselves, be able to restore themselves to the original levels. Unfortunately, a few of them have been able to access these funds being accessed through private banks, their bankers. Unfortunately, the feedback we are getting is that a few of them have actually accessed this money.
The national chairman, Private Education Institutions Association, Chirabira Hassad, says multiple taxation is frustrating the progress of education service provision.
In more activities, State Minister for Higher Education Dr. John Chrysostom Muyengo has cautioned government-aided school administrators against sabotaging government programs. It follows areas of Lira district where many school-going children are still at home despite schools having started 2 weeks ago. He advised them to value UPE and as well as a USE.
Most learners in government-aided schools in Lira district are still at home or digging for failure to meet school fees. State Minister for Higher Education Dr. John Muyengo condemns parents who are still keeping learners at home instead of utilizing QPE and USE government programs. He warned school administrators in government-aided schools against sabotaging government programs.
By taking your child to the garden when others are in school, you are creating insecurity for this country. You are making this country poorer. That's why I got very disappointed. I was terribly disappointed with one school called Amucha Primary School. I found more than half of the school on the road roaming about, going back home when others are in school, because the headmaster had sent them away for school fees.
This was during the minister's visit to monitor the progress of Uganda Skills Development Project. The visit at Uganda Technical College, Lira, also coincides with handing over the $100 million trucks and road equipment to various centers of excellence government technical colleges. Dr. Muyengo also flagged off students doing internship. On the issue of equipment donated to the technical colleges, the minister advised on skilling the youth.
Beautiful things are put up here are intended to facilitate learning, acquisition of skills, not for the principal to take his cassava to the market. Lira people, you are very lucky. These people will be learning using these modern good machines on your road.
The principal Uganda Technical College, Lira, commended government for improving Skilling Uganda program.
That we are ready to take on training in road construction and highway maintenance as a center of excellence. Guest of honor, I wish to assure you that UTC Lira is committed to supporting the training of technicians in these 4 disciplines.
The over $100 million trucks and road equipment donated to various Uganda technical colleges across the country by government include Kalongo Agago, Kitgum, Arozombo, Sese and Bukalaza.
A tree planting campaign to restore and conserve environment has been launched in Mbale to avert the effects of climate change. The initiative reflecting Uganda's 60th independence is spearheaded by North Road Primary School in preparations to commemorate 90 years of existence.
In partnership with African Women and Youth for Development, Mount Elgon Tree Planting Enterprises is spearheading the move to avert the impact of climate change.
Our target is to see at least we plant 25 million trees in the communities that are devastated by floods, by landslides and other calamities.
In preparation for the 60th independence, Mbale and Elgon sub-region are prioritizing environmental conservation by starting a tree planting campaign.
Climate change is impacting on all of us. And as Uganda, we are moving towards celebrating the 60 years of independence. We need to remember it by, for example, planting a tree in order to curb the impact of climate change. If all Ugandans planted a tree, we would have the 60 million trees.
North Road Primary School in Mbale City led the tree planting initiative.
Trees can also help us in controlling soil erosion. They also help in the formation of rainfall. If we plant them on the mountains, they can help us to prevent landslides.
As Uganda is planning to celebrate 60 years of independence, North Road Primary School is planning to celebrate at that same time, to celebrate 90 years of existence. Wow. We are very glad that this is the time that our dear stakeholders, our OBs, should be involved in protecting the environment and making our school shine.
Kasim Wamatabu, the Mbale City Mayor, says the occurrence of disasters have been caused by the local residents.
You know, this actually, they are catchment for moderating the weather, but they also determine the beauty of the area. So as a city, our focus actually is on greening it. So greening the city involves tree planting, areas where there should be grass, and there has to be green all over.
Stakeholders in the environmental conservation say the culture of tree planting will save Uganda from the effects of climate change.
To make sure that we promote the planting of trees, you can see as you see behind me, you see the children are planting the trees, and that is a good gesture for them to grow up knowing that the planting of the trees will help us to protect the environment. So that's critical, and you want this to go on in other schools, you want this to go on in other communities, such that our environment is protected. Because the impact of climate change is big, and we cannot ignore it.
Teachers have been urged to enhance their skills and upgrade their qualifications to match the dynamic education world. Minister of Education and Sports Commissioner of Teacher Education, Training and Development, Jonathan Kamwan, advises teachers to upgrade. He was at the graduation ceremony at the National Teachers College, Moni, in Arua City.
At least 1,050 students have attained diplomas in primary and secondary school education at the National Teachers College, awarded by Chambogo University at Muni in Arua City. The teachers had completed training in different educational disciplines. The Commissioner of Teacher Education and Training Development in the Ministry of Education and Sports, Jonathan, challenged teachers to upgrade.
Thank you for choosing the teaching profession. And I want to congratulate you for the hard work and commitment that has enabled you to attain this much valuable qualification. Congratulations. Remember, education is a lifelong process. And my humble advice, graduates, to you is to aim higher and attain degree qualification for your further professional development.
He noted that the dynamics in the education sector driven by the advancing technology will most likely render some of the teachers less advantaged in the socio-economic basis of transformation. He was representing the State Minister for Higher Education, John Chrysostom Muyengo.
The present day situation where many universities and other institutions have emerged is not by accident, but as a result of intentional and strategic planning and putting in place policies to meet increasing needs of the country in the education sector.
The Vice Chancellor of Chambogo University, Professor Eli Katunguka, challenged the graduates to acknowledge the sacrifice by their parents and aim higher for better opportunities.
That the best gift you can give to a child is to educate him or her. We are aware that you have sacrificed a lot of things for the sake of the children. And I think these children, these graduates, should clap for you.
The National Teachers College Muni is an affiliate to Chambogo University. The principal of Muni National Teachers College, Daisy Aliwaru, however, decried the inadequacy in the capitation grant apportioned to the institution.
One inadequate capitation grant of 1,800 per student per day is a very small amount to provide a student with 3 meals plus other administrative costs. 2, inadequacy of staff.
Some of the graduates celebrated their achievements.
Yeah, it means much because it shows some kind of achievement. We hope that from this foundation you have made, you can at least achieve more.
I'm so happy today because it is because of God's grace. I didn't know I would make it, but today I finally made it.
And we hope to go for further studies, join universities.
News Tonight returns shortly, and we shall be bringing you business as well as sports updates. Keep it with us.
October mukaga Millennium Gardens azibuwaya October munanaji Motel Mbarara 15 October Futi Poto Muchisawe 22 October Bale Sports Center Mutwalo kumo Yepe mtwale satu Emeza milioni emo Wabula abantu kumya Abana gula tiketi wakosa MTN Momo Banja kusesule nkome tano Bina bitendo mu center Hiva Motors Galaxy FM Radio 4 Kagwila wo MTN
My name is Charles Peter Maiga, the Katikiro of Buganda. It's very important to groom and nurture children into responsible citizens. But that doesn't mean that we've got to beat them up, got to hurt them. I think we need to groom our children into people who have self-worth. That will enable us to have citizens who will be responsible and who will also look at violence with disdain.
Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
News Tonight, it is a welcome back and thank you so much for staying. Now bringing you the business updates this Friday. It's just over 6 months since MVP resumed operations on Lake Victoria waters. The vessel, which is now back in business, has boosted the capacity to handle business. The business community utilizing the Central Corridor has hailed its return, but wants more vessels introduced on the route in order to meet the increasing demand for bulk cargo transport.
The Chinese engineering company Mango Group that rehabilitated and returned MV Pamba back to the Lake Victoria routes is contented with its operations and service to the business community.
MV Pamba boasts of a capacity of up to 22 wagons, and versus the road that usually takes only about two wagons at a time. So imagine the time you need to take from Mwanza to Port Bill on the ship. It's much better because you'll have 22 wagons in one go. You'll be able to beat your service delivery to customer, timely delivery, name it.
With 2 return trips to the port of Mwanza in Tanzania from Port Bell in Kampala, the 21,000 tons capacity vessel is now the ship of choice for small-scale and large-scale entrepreneurs. Mulwana J. Peters and Sons Stores, that was relying on small but expensive vessels to import livestock feed from Mwanza, can attest to the benefits accrued.
So this cargo just came from Port Bell, but before Port Bell it was in Mwanza. From Mwanza it is here in Kisenyi. As you can see, it's in a cake form. It's called cotton seed cake. It is among the animal proteins that animals, so it's a vegetable protein that animals need to consume. So the other time when we met at Port Bell, we had used St. Matthew, the ship that's coming from Tanzania. But this time we've used Pamba.
The roll-on, roll-off cargo ship that can transport 1 million liters of fuel on a single trip charges less than half compared to other modes of bulk transport.
If you get it done properly, from Dar es Salaam to Mwanza, and you cross by water on Lake Victoria to Kampala, that shouldn't take even 2 days for the two. So your transport costs will be lower because on the other leg you have used the two cheapest means of transport.
Affordability in bulk transportation impacts positively on the profit margins of the entrepreneur.
It is safe. When you see transporting your cargo on water, there is nothing like a jam. The accidents are rare. That my cargo, I've got accidents, it has been spoiled. It goes the way it is intact, and even it is faster because there is nothing like a jam.
In addition to being the cheapest mode of transportation, water transport is eco-friendly and helps in increasing the lifespan of the roads and thus saving governments immense resources on road repairs. The Central Corridor Transit Transport Facilitation Agency, CCTTFA, has taken the lead in promoting the utilization of the route's multimodal transport system to Uganda's business community.
We are trying to look at the procedures in the port of Dar es Salaam, customs and the port and the agencies and the rest, to see how that can be improved on so that cargo moves much faster.
Safe, efficient and affordable transport systems regionally and continentally have the capacity to boost economic growth and trade.
We need to really have a much more agreed and nuanced notion of how together you pursue national interests. It is an area in which we are lacking, and we need to do much more to ensure that our common interest becomes our national interest. It has to be so if, for example, the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is to be successfully implemented.
Dennis Igoa and Juman Samba for UBC Business.
Now, taking a look at the current fuel prices across the country, there is a reduction compared to the last 3 months. Many attribute this attributes the current prices to the aftermath of the Kenyan elections en route to Uganda. However, experts in automotive believe that acquisition of latest cars, the second-hand cars, would be a better option if one compares in terms of fuel consumption. Commercial vehicle manufacturer Ashok Leyland has launched a new light truck for a business, a versatile product and less fuel consumption. Ashok Leyland is also into the manufacturing of electric and a new age fuel vehicle technology. Robert Wangwa in Sibirwa, an impact investor, believes new technologies in cars enhances mobility and user friendliness.
In the abstract terms, somebody buys an old car 70 million and a new car is 120 million, 110 million, and they feel they are saving. But in actual words or calculation, there is no value for money. A new car will give you efficiency in fuel consumption because of the technology. The technology is so good that fuel consumption is optimized. Number two, you take so long to repair a new car. So the value for money with a new car is wonderful. And the car we have unveiled today and handed over to UBL now, 35 of them, they consume very, very well. They are able to go up the hills of Uganda very, very well with low consumption, and the maintenance is very, very low because they are designed to remain on the road and not in the garage. So I wish to appeal to Ugandans to try this out. If you have a fleet of 50 cars, 20 cars, try to buy some 2 new cars, quality cars, from Ashok Leyland, for example, and you compare with the old cars you have. In a year or 6 months, you'll see the difference. There's real value for money. You're buying a new car because of efficiencies in running, in fuel consumption, and generally in maintenance.
Built with a 1,500cc engine,
season. Forget the oohs and the ahs. Forget every moment that stole the show, because the real show is here on GoTV. It's the new season. It's action-packed and it's going to be non-stop football. With over 1,000 games from more than 7 leagues and cup competitions plus a World Cup. Make sure you get the best seat in the house this new football season. Get a GoCoder with 1 month of GoTV value for only 25,000 Uganda shillings and enjoy non-stop football. GoTV Uganda. Love it.
gukomyewo oluvannyuma lw'emyaka ebiri omwoleso gw'abannamakolero mu Uganda gukomyewo ekitongole omwegattira bannamakolero ekya UMA bakwaniriza mwoleso gwabwe ogw'omulundi ogwa28 okuva nga 3 ogw'ekkumi okutuuka nga 10 ogw'ekkumi jangula baboolesa abasukka mu 1,000 n'abasuubuzi mu buli bizinensi ku kibangirizi kya bannamakolero e Lugogo okuyingira omutwalo gumu gwokka wabula jjukira nti waliwo bannamakolero abajja okusala ku bintu byabwe ebitundu 5 ku 100 jangu weerabire ku bayimbi ab'enjawulo n'abasanyusa nga tujaguza nnyaffe Uganda okuweza emyaka 6 ekyameefuga okufuna ekifo okuba ku nnamba eno noti 7 noti 3 552 nnyanya.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying. Now we have to give you the latest from the world of sports before we let you go enjoy your night. Now, with only 51 days remaining to the 2022 Football World Cup, a Chinese firm, Hisense, has finalized its draw from which 9 lucky winners will get an all-expenses-paid ticket to Qatar. Victoria Virunji won a ticket in the final draw at the firm's Kabalagala showroom. The modus operandi for this draw was buying a Hisense appliance. Getting a coupon and sending details to a selected number, and it has been a great spectacle.
I'm giving you some good news right now that you are the very lucky winner of a ticket to go to Qatar to watch World Cup, fully sponsored by Hisense. Wow. Yeah, I'm not happy. I know the happiness going on. 30th September, and we're having the very last winners. So we've been here and we have selected one of the last people, and she was a lady. She's called Madame Birunji Victoria. She purchased any appliance from one of our shops, and when we were running the draw, she was the very lucky person to go for the World Cup.
How many are they now in total, and when are they leaving for World Cup?
Today we are having the very last 10. Right now this one has been the 9th person, and we are just going to have the 10th person in the next coming hour. Then those will be done. Requirements are very simple. We require a customer to be a Ugandan, that is one. We require a customer to have a passport fully with their details. That is all we want from them. Then the rest, the company shall avail the information to the customers on how they will go and when.
That's all we had time for this particular newscast as far as our 10 p.m. edition of News Tonight is concerned. And we were live from Nile Avenue Broadcast House. It's been great spending time with you as we wind up this month of September. It happens to be the 30th of September 2022. And well, wishing you a great, a blessed and a fruitful month ahead as you're yet to start it in a few hours. My name is Sandra Kahundi, and of course from the team behind the scene, wish you a great night and a blessed weekend. And for now, I'll leave you with Kutesa Mili for the weather update. Keep watching UBC.
Thanks for tuning on UBC. My name is Kutesa Milu with your weather update. We are having thunder showers dominating most parts of the country, but mainly over lake shores and mountainous areas. But seeing the satellite picture, we're having the rainbow team over our central part of Africa, including our country Uganda, enhanced with moist winds that are blowing from Indian Ocean coming into our country, bringing us the rainfall that we're having lately. Tomorrow morning, though, we expect to wake up with light isolated showers across parts of Lake Victoria and some parts of the northern part of our country, but Karamoja region and the southwestern of our country is expected to wake up with sunny intervals. After an hour, though, we're expecting a pickup of thunder showers dominating most parts of the country, apart from Karamoja regions, we're seeing a continuation of sunny intervals. Temperature is up 30 degrees maximum across Karamoja regions, 29 most parts of the country, and 28 across Lake Shores, and 25 across Kabale Highlands, 30 degrees Celsius across Kasese. Youths moving out of Uganda touring the festivals across the group are forecasting sunny conditions across Cairo with a maximum of 38 degrees Celsius, Beijing, Rome and Cape Town with sunny intervals at a maximum of 27 degrees Celsius across Beijing, 22 across Rome and 19 across Cape Town, New York with light isolated showers at a maximum of 18 degrees Celsius. Thanks for tuning on UBC. My name is Kutesa Mili. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow.
UBC, inspiring Uganda. It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network. This weekend on UBC.
Ball gown tenyumira buli omu. Tenyumira buli omu. Eina specific heights. Specific height. Kubanga bwabeera omumpi ennyo ate mubuutikira akannyo. Ate sometimes tufaayo nnyo n'omwami muwanvu mumpi. Abamu bw'ayagala atatekemu engatto empanvu ate n'asukka omwami kubanga ate n'enviiri oluusi bazikoze nga oluusi mpanvu ate n'asukka ate ball gown kwegamba ne babeera nga bakontana n'omwami. Kati awo alina okutambula okulaba ddi lwennoonya gawuni at least nandibadde n'alternative A ne B. Okusinga okujja mu gawuni wano nga talina kyamanyi era awo kisobola omubuzaabuza
kati wajja nga talina kyamanyi. That's when you come in.
Yeah, that's when we come in. We advise, we give variety of them. N'ayambalamu n'alaba ekimunyumidde. Kwegamba tutera nnyo okumuwa kubanga ye kyawulira muli nti nnyumye. Kyekyo kye tutambulirako kubanga omugole alina okwesooka okweraba nnyumye oba njagala kino era bw'ajja njagala kino nga temukirina mumugamba ekyo tetukirina tho tulina kino na kino na kino.
With God, comfort replaces pain, peace replaces confusion, hope replaces sorrow. God loves you and knows you personally. He hears you and speaks to you in your thoughts, in your heart, and through living prophets. Come hear the words God has for you. Watch General Conference this Sunday at 6:30 p.m. on UBC TV.
The Uganda at 60 Business Breakfast Conference will be held on October 12, 2022 at Speak Resort Munyonyo. The Red Carpet event will bring together influential business leaders, entrepreneurs, innovators, development partners, and senior government officials. The theme is COVID-19, Conflict and Energy Crisis, the lessons for Uganda in managing geopolitical risk. The guest speaker is Senior Presidential Advisor on Special Operations, Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Topics to discuss include oil and gas, emerging technologies, job creation, agribusiness, regional trade, and sports and creatives. To participate, call 0705 340 477 or 0701 490 492. Hosted by Kampala Economic Renaissance Foundation in partnership with Afro Mobile, Chiriandongo Sugar, Speak Resort Munyonyo, Uganda Investment Authority, Ministry of Trade and Investment, Subula, Trotbach Energies, and more others.
You know, sometimes it's easy for us to think because we are in the church, because we are in the house of God, because we are believers, we shall escape some of these things. How many of you know we shall face the same vagaries the world is facing, whether we are born again or not? If you are going to disciple gatekeepers, you've got to be a gatekeeper. And actually the purpose of this conference is to challenge both of us, the pastors, and to challenge the people that we are pastoring, that actually what God expects of us is to be gatekeepers wherever we are.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to panic as the situation is being managed. The Ministry of Health further reminds the public to be on the lookout for any persons who may show signs and symptoms of Ebola. These include high body temperature, abdominal pains, diarrhea, vomiting, bleeding from the body openings such as the nose, eyes, and mouth. Please inform the nearest health worker immediately if you see anyone with these signs and symptoms. To prevent Ebola from spreading further, please take the following preventive measures: regular